and welcome to the Cryptonaut podcast. My name is Mark Storrs, and I'm joined by Mr. Chris Carnicelli.
Welcome.
And Mr. Robert Thomas Morphy II.
Double welcome.
Thank you all so very much. We're back, boys. We're doing it again. It's
Yes.
number 238 or something like that. And
We are 238.
yeah. Oh, dude.
Almost.
Let me
Yeah.
actually confirm that real quick before we get started here. We are 238.
There it
Okay.
is. Uncle Glenny, be proud.
Yeah, or as you've dubbed him, was it Small Angry?
Angry Small.
Angry Smalls.
Angry
yeah.
Small. Yes, I actually might rename my truck Glenn Danzig, but we'll see. It's
Your
still.
truck isn't small.
I know it's far too big.
I mean,
It's stout.
It's angry annoying. Is what it is.
perfect, angry, annoying. I've been debating on getting like a Crimson Ghost sticker on the back, or maybe like a Danzig skull, like a Sam Haines skull or something. I don't know. We'll see.
Crimson Ghost is
I
classic.
think the window would be pretty good. Yeah, I think that would be pretty fucking dope. Regardless, Robert, Patreon is the thing that we offer, and the good folks over there support us every month monetarily, so I can get myself that Misfit sticker. And we got some shout outs.
Saving up for years.
Saving up for years.
Oh, it's finally the
Decal.
dream. The dream
Yeah.
comes. Are they gonna have little half-tone dots on it? Make it blend.
I might have to do that actually. Maybe I'd do like a Cryptonaut wrap on it. No, because then everyone's gonna know it's me. So like, what's the Cryptonaut truck?
Yeah, everyone around here is gonna not know shit
That's
because
well
they'll be like,
true.
"Who the fuck is this and why?"
Why don't you
Yeah.
just do a small one in the back?
I could. I was actually gonna do like a magnet.
Oh, the little bat logo.
Oh, that'd be dope. That'd be
All right.
dope.
To our fine patrons,
Speaking of dope, our fine patrons. Good sir.
Heather Lynn,
Thank you so much, Heather.
Shenanigans,
Shenanigans.
Jordan Heath,
What up, Jordan Heath?
Phil Dickinson,
Hell yeah, Mr. Dickinson. Thank you so much.
Jake Cox,
What up, Jake?
Richard Michael Lucas.
Nice, thank
Loved
you.
your work in the 80s.
Yes,
Oh my God, yeah.
exactly.
Oh, just one of the best.
Yeah,
RML.
nice.
Once again, back for the attack, Ruin Truth.
Welcome.
Thank you for
Welcome
giving
back.
us another chance.
Yeah.
I know we've done you wrong sometimes, and sometimes our love is shown in weird ways, but the fact that you're giving us another try, RT, thank you.
If you're having an issue with billing, hit me up on Patreon. We'll give
more
you a
likely
hand.
than not, yeah.
Probably a billing issue.
It's
but-
really not an
Thank
We'll
you.
have
Again,
no
I'll forget
answers,
love.
and we'll be just as mad.
Yeah. Good point, Chris. Good point.
Laura Neola.
Thank you, Laura.
Jay Nasty is woke, all one word.
What up, Jay Nasty?
Meg Potter.
Hell yeah, Meg.
Jordan Ekman.
Oh, Jordan, what up?
Tim Goins.
What up, Tim?
Dr. Sarazawa's goldfish. Oh, that little ichthyoid got done wrong. That got deoxygenated. It suffered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Japan lived.
I mean, birth is pain.
Yeah, Dr. Sarazawa didn't.
No.
It was sad.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, death's coming for us all at some point.
But not like through having your oxygen sucked through your bones underwater while you're hanging out with an irradiated dinosaur, knowing that the woman you love is going to be banging somebody else. Yeah. Sarazawa's
And it's just
pain
going to come back.
It's a little sharper.
Again and again and again.
And again and again.
But different ones, maybe. I don't know.
All right, you know what? You're
Undetermined.
Yeah.
I think
That is an awful way to go.
Dorothy Johnstone.
perfect.
Yes, I think I got that right.
Dorothy?
Dorothy Johnstone.
Nice. it took me, you said it earlier, it took me a second. I was like, I don't know if he's fucking with me here. I don't know what he's doing. I like it. I like that attitude, Robert. I
Thank
like
you,
it a lot.
Dorothy.
All right, this I have not read yet. We're doing this cold. I have no clue what we're doing, but I see the article here. We're speaking about Penelope.
Indeed.
I mean,
Innocuous enough, right?
Yeah,
Sweet. Probably Penelope Spheris, fine actress, popular in the early 90s. We're talking
Dope.
Awakenings, Kindergarten Cop. I mean,
yeah.
she made a mark on cinema for a hot minute and then has moved on, I'm sure, to bigger and better things. Or
Could be.
is it not?
well, I mean,
Penelope
if we,
Cruz.
Oh, Penelope
Oh,
Cruz. Oh,
also-
she's lovely,
she's
very
excellent.
talented.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a fine name.
Well, let's dig in here. Let's get started with, though the origin story of this ghastly quasi-humanoid she-beast reads like a mishmash of a gore-drenched 1950s EC comic and a kid-friendly 1960s Marvel superhero introduction, the fact is that whatever her genesis may be, the hulking carnivorous creature known to the natives of the Sierra Nevada mountains as Penelope leaves all who witness her feeling both petrified and lucky to be alive.
Definitely Penelope Spheres.
I mean,
Dang.
ooh, this I when I saw the email, I was getting Chris from his house, and you send the email. I'm like, Penelope, huh? And I didn't even get I was like, I don't want to even know about it. I want to go in cold.
It is.
And this is the
Icy.
fucking weirdest name for a creature, so I'm
really
I'm
is.
excited to see what
Fucking
happens.
Peter.
We're going to have a good time with this. Wedged between the Great Basin and the Central Valley and running some 400 miles along the eastern edge of California from the Mojave Desert to the Cascade Range of Oregon, the Sierra Nevadas are a chain of stunning mountain ranges that form the western backbone of the Americas. Sculpted by glaciers from ancient granite, the region is home to 3 national parks, 20 wilderness areas, 2 national monuments, and at least 1 utterly horrifying biological anomaly.
I mean, I'm obviously going there for the utterly horrifying biological anomaly.
Yeah.
So that's
Oh,
where
yeah.
I'm going
Well,
to
I
take
mean-
the kids to camp. So cool.
There's a lot of space there.
We could all go. We can make it a family thing. My kids, my wife, all of
Honorary
us.
uncles?
Yeah, there
Sure,
you go.
why not?
Yeah, drink
I
beers.
mean, are you paying
But-
and supplying the beer?
Yeah, totally. We can drive. We can
Okay,
caravan
man.
there.
I
We
mean,
can all
that's
fucking
why
go.
we thank our patrons,
All
so
right,
we
there you
can
go.
take these family trips to find biological anomalies.
I mean, let's fucking do it.
To be clear, though their natural beauty and biodiversity are the stuff of legend, the Sierra Nevada mountains and surrounding areas are an undeniably eerie venue, said to be chock-a-block with bizarre beasts and paranormal phantasms ranging from Bigfoot to Lake Tahoe's own Tessie to the much-loved Fresno nightcrawlers, not to mention all manner of specters, spooks, and unidentified flying objects. But all but lost in the backwash of these more famous fiends are reports filtering out from hikers, rangers, and campers who have claimed to have encountered something altogether more frightening in the backwoods of this pristine range. A massive, shambling, naked nightmare that, legend has it, feasts on human flesh.
Oh boy. Okay, Penelope. You massive, shambling, naked nightmare. Cool. Awesome.
But we're not merely dealing with a creepy cryptid or sinister spirit at large in the woods. We're contending with something much more fecund, the genesis of a legend. And the origin story of the unnerving entity known as Penelope is a classic example of where the rubber meets the road in cryptozoological lore, clearly showing the vast disparity between the universally harrowing eyewitness accounts and the undeniably absurd tale that is presented to explain their existence. As far as I could discern, the first official account of Penelope appeared in Scott Francis's 2007 book, Monster Spotter's Guide to North America. I've not been able to read the entry in said tome, but other sources state that the creature in question is a huge, pale, feminine figure, nearly 7 feet in height, with a head full of filthy white or sickly yellow hair that frames her twisted, sometimes eyeless features. Penelope's mouth is described as a huge, distended, grinning affair, full of dagger-like teeth, and her arms are grotesquely elongated and tipped with razor-sharp claws, which she uses to rend the flesh of her hapless victims.
All right. Awful.
Stunner.
Stunner. Yeah. Yep.
The overall appearance is one of that of a classic witch after being bombarded with gamma rays. Which brings us to how she arrived at such an ungainly size and distorted appearance. And here's where we get into William Gaines' EC Comics territory. The gist of the legend is that Penelope was just an ordinary woman traveling by car through the Sierra Nevada mountains with her husband when, according to Brent Swanser in his article, The Terrifying Tale of Penelope, the Monster of Sierra Nevada, quote, they were hit by a brutal, relentless snowstorm that caused their car to careen off the road. The husband was supposedly killed instantly in the crash, with some versions of the story offering the gruesome detail that he was decapitated and even that his head had ended up on her lap, and that Penelope ran off into the raging storm in a panic, her husband's blood all over her. The main version of the story says that she wandered the wilderness for several days, delirious and half-mad with grief, living off berries and insects, end quote. So you could just get this classic urban legendy vibe. It would be then that a second storm hit, and here's where the story switches in tone from EC to early Marvel. Unable to find a cave or any other usable shelter, the starving, frostbitten accident survivor was forced to take desperate measures. Stumbling across a stockpile of rusted, sludge-caked steel drums that had been unceremoniously deposited onto the sacred vista by an unknown industrial polluter, Penelope crawled inside one of the stinking vessels, hoping to find some respite from the bitter cold. Little could she have imagined that she was crawling from the frying pan into the flames. Doing her best to ignore the corrosive confines of her fetid steel tomb, exhaustion finally overtook the young woman, and as she slept in this womb of toxic waste, her body, according to local lore, began to change. And for anyone even remotely familiar with pop culture anti-heroes from the Incredible Hulk to the Toxic Avenger, the results were not pretty.
Oh, man, she skipped the cancer and she got the powers.
Yeah, right to it.
Yeah.
Just jumped right to it.
No lymphoma, nothing. Just boom. There you go.
Yep.
There it is.
Start off with the gruesome EC, jump right to Stan
Yeah.
Lee, 63.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it.
After an unspecified amount of time, the likely radioactive waste not only ate through what was left of Penelope's clothing, natch, but permanently modified her DNA. However, unlike so many other victims of toxic waste exposure, she wasn't stricken with leukemia or another debilitating condition, but merely mutated into a massive monstrosity who, according to Swanser, quote, burst forth from the metal drum to terrorize the countryside and prowl about for prey to stave off her insatiable hunger, with hikers, campers, and rangers all fair game, end quote. Based on this account, it's difficult to ascertain if Penelope lost her mind before or after she sealed herself in that vile drum of poisonous runoff that transformed her, into a gruesome genetic aberration.
It didn't help.
It didn't help.
No.
I mean, seemingly no.
No.
Yeah.
But maybe it did.
I mean, it could have been the final straw, the one that broke the Penelope's back.
I mean, if she didn't crawl in, she would have frozen to death and died.
That's true.
Well, I mean, now she's mutated and she's out there fucking eating.
She's just living her life. Shut up. Why are you judging her?
You're right. No, I'm the problem. Again, Mark's the problem. I'm judging Penelope in her weird mutant steel tomb of
The cure
mutation.
Could be worse than the disease.
It might be.
In this case.
I mean, she, first of all, excellent origin story.
Oh, my
Second
gosh.
of all, I want to see Wolverine hunt her down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That goes without saying. I'm full front.
Yep.
As if all that weren't a brilliant enough first installment for any self-respecting campfire monstrosity, the legend kicked into overdrive when rumor had it that when a posse of locals and law enforcement officials, accompanied by agents of the FBI no less, were able to track the beast who'd been leaving a trail of gutted hikers and disemboweled animals in her wake to her canyon lair, resulting in a confrontation that in true 80s Predator meets First Blood style fashion resulted in some epic ass kicking. Yes.
Dang.
All right. Well, I mean, you went after her. You get what you deserve, I guess.
That's how it happens.
You know.
Listen, he just wanted to come home from Nam. She just wanted to come home from the barrel. That's it. That's all.
It's an excellent John Rambo tie.
Penelope allegedly proved to not only be preternaturally quick, but also impervious to their firearms and nearly laid the entire group to waste. After which, this one-woman killing machine was said to have murdered a gaggle of rangers and attacked a trailer park, leaving no survivors. Thus continuing a virtually unheard of trail of blood-soaked mayhem that can be tracked down to, well, at least 2007 or maybe 1986. It's hard to tell.
Oh, that's something else.
Needless to say, anyone over the age of 8 will likely have eye rolls of seismic magnitude upon hearing the above story. And that's a fair reaction. Cheesy fun though it may be, this tale of tribulation and mutation in the high mountains is hokum of the highest order. But that doesn't mean there isn't a kernel of truth in there somewhere. The hell you say? Cryptids and aliens are one thing, but a toxic cannibal giantess is a bridge too far? Perhaps you're right. But let's table the fables for now and move on to the eyewitness accounts that were presented mostly by folks visiting the mountain range who had no idea about the stories surrounding this rural rampager. Although, as aforementioned, the first reference to Penelope was apparently printed in Francis's 2007 book, the first account I've managed to dig up appeared on the Phantoms and Monsters site on Thursday, August 30th, 2012. The eyewitness, referred to only as LR, and his unnamed teenage son were camping in the Sierra Nevadas near Tioga Lake, California, when they shared an experience the pair would never forget. And here is where we're going to taste the vast differences between the awesome urban legend openings, or suburban or rural legend, as the case may be, and what these people are claiming to really encounter. So going directly to the reprinted account, quote, "My teenage son and I were camping in our RV. There were other campers in the area, but not very close to us. On the third night of our trip, we encountered something that neither of us can explain. This is bear country, and I know that there have been Bigfoot reports over the years, but what we saw was neither as far as we can tell. We secured all of the food and other supplies in the RV and were getting ready to go to bed. It was about 12:30 a.m. My son fell asleep quickly while I was getting a few things ready as we were going to leave the location later in the morning. I was looking at a map when I started to hear high-pitched screams. At first I thought it was a coyote, but it was a single scream and sounded more human, like a woman's scream. I opened the RV door and stood silently in the doorway. Once again, the high-pitched scream started. This time it woke my son. We both stood at the door as the screams continued from the direction of the mountain. After about 10 minutes, the screams stopped. We both went to bed." Not knowing that I would do that, but, they're experienced
little Blair
outdoorsmen.
Witch going on.
If the father and son had hoped to put the anomalous sound behind them and get a good night's sleep, their hopes would soon be dashed. Quote, "Something startled me while I was sleeping because I woke in a panic. I looked at my watch. It was 2:40 a.m. Then all of a sudden that same high-pitched scream erupted outside of the RV. As it started, my son jumped out of his rack and fell to the floor. I grabbed my .44 just in case. As we looked through the windshield, the moonlight was bright enough to illuminate a tall, thin creature with light-colored skin. My son yelled, 'Zombie!' Totally easy go-to.
I mean, for a kid, that's probably your first instinct, because that might be all he knows is like The Walking Dead.
Like a tall, pale,
yeah,
naked thing in the darkness.
I mean, unless he's like an Italian horror buff like ourselves, and he's like, zombie but with an eye, and fucking
Probably
there you
not.
go.
If this is a 2000 story, then it's
this kid don't. This kid don't. This kid
like
this kid don't know.
Yeah, it's Walking Dead or video games probably. Who knows how old the kid is technically?
right.
But the dad continued. It did look like a female human form, but the face and the face, Jesus Christ, the face and the rest of the body looked horrible. It reminded me of an old witch. No clothes, deformed face, long light-colored hair, long arms and legs. I figured it stood almost 7 feet. It was walking away from the RV toward the lake. I had seen enough. I made sure everything was ready to go and drove out of there ASAP. We ended up near Mono Lake. A few days later, I was able to talk to a ranger as he walked through the camping area. He was an older guy and quite engaging. I described what we witnessed. My son also verified what he'd seen. The ranger got a serious look on his face and said that over the years something similar had been reported a few times. He said that they called it Penelope, but he didn't know why it had gotten that name. That's all he knew.
All right, when you get the confirmation from the law enforcement, not great, but when it tells you it's called Penelope, might be worse.
Yeah, because
When
then
it's
you're
like, oh yeah, that's Jessica.
it humanizes
You're like,
it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Why? And of
Yeah.
course, at this point, he doesn't know the legend that
Right.
we just brought out.
Toxic Avenger Penelope, yeah.
Right. Total. Oh, it's totally. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like little. I don't even remember what the guy's name was. Melvin in the
Yeah,
barrel.
it was Melvin,
It literally
yeah.
was Melvin in a
Yeah.
toxic waste
Yeah.
barrel.
Yep.
With his tutu and his mop. The administrator of Phantoms and Monsters, Lon Strickler, followed up on the sighting, stating, quote, I contacted Inyo National Forest Information. They directed me to the Mono Lake Ranger Station. I was able to talk to a ranger who confirmed that there were a few very odd sightings in the Sierra Nevada range, and that one of these beings was dubbed Penelope. I don't know if it's the same one. I don't know if he knew that.
Okay.
But he was unaware of how or why the name was given. I sent out a few inquiries last evening. Today I received a short email from a folklore writer in Reno, Nevada, that Penelope was supposedly a woman who had become lost in the Sierra Nevada mountains several years ago and eventually became a flesh-eating monster. Hence the story.
And eventually,
It became,
that's
through natural processes.
When you're lost and you crawl into a fucking barrel full of toxic waste, you eventually become, a cannibalistic murderer.
Though, in all fairness, I mean, that does have a lot of precedent from the Donner Party to the It's Alive soccer team, It's Alive.
Yeah.
No, I'm confusing that with the Larry Cohen
Yeah,
Monster
I knew-
Baby.
yeah, I know.
Simply Alive
Yeah, just-
soccer team.
Quote unquote alive.
Alive.
Yeah.
And while the soccer team had the benefit of it being, later 20th century and people understanding their circumstances,
Right.
the Donner Party definitely got branded as monsters.
Yeah.
And I mean, in some ways, I get it because it is the ultimate taboo, the eating of human flesh. But when people are put in a situation through environmental desperation where they eat the corpses of other human beings, they are rightfully or not stigmatized by it.
Yeah,
So
for
this
sure.
is just
Yeah.
kind of another in a long line. Not saying that's what happened with Penelope. Obviously, there's the whole other fucking spidey sense element of it all, and where she hulks out.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point during her cannibalistic reign of terror, she must have come across a McDonald's. She could have been like, "It's time for a change. I'm gonna have a Big Mac."
Once
it a
you've
day."
evolved or devolved, and you are 7 foot tall and taloned, and you have a face full of teeth,
A Big Mac won't do it.
McMeat is not going to cut it anymore.
I got 20-piece nugget.
I mean, she probably tried once, and they just kicked her out.
Yeah, it's true.
Also,
She
dress
just-
code.
She just walked in, just like fucking
Yeah.
screeching
Like,
and
you
shit.
got money for that? She's like, no. Well, then you don't get it. Oh, fuck. And then she leaves.
No shirt, no suit, no shoes, no service. There
No
you go.
doubt.
people again.
Damn it. Back to the woods.
Get a fucking job.
Penelope.
And Strickler was also the guy that made the connection with the Scott Francis book.
Oh,
So-
nice. Cool.
So we're seeing how the pieces are starting to come together.
It is.
And then he put out a call saying, okay, seems like we're getting into the urban legend column with this one. Well, anyway, I'd appreciate some follow-up if available. It wouldn't be too long before more sightings of similar beasts filtered into his site. The second reported case occurred in the mid-'80s, and this one would not be limited to just a single female, but would apparently involve two such creatures. On Tuesday, October 1st, 2013, Strickler posted an email that he had received, I think the day before, on September 30th. Quote, and this is from the email, I was searching for things in the Sierra Nevadas, and I came across a story on your page about a creature named Penelope. The entire encounter and the creature described by the LR person who sent the original email was something my entire family and myself had witnessed many years ago. We were camping near Convict Lake, California, but further back in the woods. There were 3 other groups of campers in the campground, and it was late spring. On our second night there around 1 a.m., just outside of my old Nissan Datsun 6-pack camper, my father, mother, and I heard a very loud scream. Other people in the camp heard it as well because when I looked out the window, I saw lights in all the tents turn on. Following the loud scream, a second scream came from the hill across the stream. There were 2 of these creatures. A minute or 2 went by, and then again from the same location we heard another loud, blood-curdling scream. It then proceeded to begin running in the direction of the creature across the stream. It must have been large because my dad is 6'4" and 300 pounds and could not make the same loud thuds this creature made while running. We only got a look at part of it as it emerged from the brush when crossing the stream. It was a whitish blur. At least that's what we saw. Even though several campers had weapons, we left right then and there. This was back in 1986. I don't really believe in Bigfoot, aliens, etc., but whatever this was, it was real and it was real big. I will never go camping without at least a shotgun since that incident. Thanks, M. So, a brief sighting, but again, not a typical Sasquatch.
No.
Again, an area that has night crawlery things. And when we did our Fresno Nightcrawler multi-part series, we did talk about these weird knuckly, like ape-like but super tall, weird fucking things that may or may not be associated with them.
Yeah, the Native Americans talked about them, right?
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And I don't remember, there was a female eyewitness that saw it like just kind of standing there, barely moving in the breeze or whatever. And we'll get into theories a little bit later, but I'm almost wondering if there's a whole other thing going on here that can maybe change shape or has an evolutionary process that's not entirely unlike, a bug that goes from, caterpillar to, pupa to moth to whatever. We'll see. The final encounter with a weird white, possibly Penelope-like thing was posted on Phantoms and Monsters both on January 4th, 2016 and elaborated on December 15th, 2021 by a witness, named Stephen M. According to the Observer, the incident occurred in Bridgeport, California at the Twin Lakes Resort, a remote fishing lodge high in the Sierra Nevada mountain range, at about 5:30 a.m. on Monday, September 1st, 2014. He began by stating, quote, I read the reported sighting of the man and his son seeing a tall, skinny, witch-looking thing outside of his RV in the same region. Also, I was very interested in an article that discussed the Bigfoot problem and how people might be seeing ghosts of animals from the past. I haven't read this article. We've talked about, I guess, of one of the many things, interdimensional Bigfoot, a genuine cryptid, proto-human, or I guess ghosts of Neanderthal past.
Dude, ghosts of dinosaurs, dude. Dinosaur ghosts, bro. They're everywhere.
He goes on to say,
they
would be. Here's the thing. They were around for like tens and tens, if not hundreds of millions of years. If there were dinosaur ghosts, we'd be chock fucking full of them nonstop. And life would be a much better place.
They're here.
Thinning of the veil.
Oh, man. We're going to do something on dinosaur ghosts someday. Because I love that idea.
All right.
Yeah, I'm all about it.
I've never really heard much about it, but I really hope it's a thing outside of, Crowley and Ness.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So the guy goes on to say, ghosts of animals past. This is why it's so hard to gather evidence on. Okay. Maybe they materialize and dematerialize, and we are just lucky to be present. This seems like a legitimate explanation to me because the creature I saw running by the road, if living, breathing, and hunting in our physical world, would send all of the people that live in Mono County back to the city once reports came in of its appearance. So apparently what he saw, and I'm here to confirm it's fucked up, if it's real, no one would live here anymore, according to him. Stephen.
Oh, all right, well.
All right. I have been coming to the same area to camp and fish for over 30 years. Hell, it's 40 years to be exact. Thank you for the clarification, Stephen. The Twin Lakes Resort in Bridgeport, California, right on the California-Nevada border, about an hour north of Mono Lake. High elevation, tons of wildlife, and great fishing. One-way road up to the Twins ending at the base of a huge mountain range north side of Yosemite. My parents brought me when I was 5, and now I bring them and my family every year. So I am very familiar with the wildlife. My family loves to fish, mostly catch and release. My favorite pastime is hiking and bird/animal watching. I've developed a keen eye for locating and identifying all types of wildlife. The point I'm trying to make is I've seen every kind of animal in this wilderness, and I have a great knowledge of every other species of animal all over the world. And I'm modest. I'm very modest.
All over the world. Every animal ever, all over the world.
If this is like his Tinder profile, he's going to be rolling.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, he's going to be rolling in puss.
I'm not saying I'm a master of animals, but kind of a master of animals.
I'm not saying I'm the beast master, but
oh, dude.
I do have 2 ferrets.
Dude, you got Kodo and Podo?
I've seen all life at the same time. I don't know what that means.
All right, back to the Pussmaster.
Nature and wildlife have been a lifelong interest of mine and been the subject of much of my art since a child, always an artist too. Knowing the body parts and how they move together has been essential to understand as an artist. Okay, now the sighting.
Wow.
I appreciate the preamble.
I
You know what?
appreciate the prequel.
Can I give you? I had to edit that down.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Jesus
There's
Christ.
more?
Yeah.
Oh my God. He was like on that on a Sunday in January.
Even though
more?
it's a smidge hubristic, it doesn't mean it's not authentic. But we'll just
Wow, he's Steve Irwin and Da Vinci.
all at once.
Dude, somebody's got
Oh my
creds.
God.
They want their creds spoken to.
Leonardo de Irwin.
This episode is brought to you by ZontiOnline.com. Use promo code CRYPTID for 10% off your first order. The quality of your beard says a lot about you. Are you constantly itching? Is your partner telling you that your mug rug looks scraggly? Are they tired of your crumb catcher scratching their face or worse? Beard care is really important. Take it from myself, Rob, and Chris, and it's a year-round responsibility. Keep your lip sweater game tight with the Angry Viking Beard Care line from Zonti. Organic products that take care of your skin and your beard gently and thoroughly. Choose from our 4 lightly but manly scented oils and butters like sandalwood and Siberian fir, or go commando with our unscented line. So keep your chin curtain from hurting and start your voyage today with Angry Viking line from Zonti. That's ZAANTI online.com and use promo code CRYPTID for 10% off your first order. We want to give a very special shout out to the owner of ZontiOnline.com. Her name is Jennifer. Not only is she a listener, but she is a small business owner, and she chose to support our podcast by buying ad space. Thank you so much, Jennifer. And also, too, she was so kind to send us a bunch of free samples of different beard oils and balms and butters. I've been using them all week. My beard's never been softer. My grays are a little bit crazy, but that's just how I roll. Regardless, thank you so much, Jennifer. And again, that is ZAANTI online.com and use promo code CRYPTID for 10% off your first order.
Quote, my wife, stepson, and myself were headed to the creek for some daybreak fishing. We left before dawn to get the car parked and walk to the creek. The time must have been close to 5:30 a.m., and it was still very dark and a slight fog. The trip, which is about a quarter mile from cabin to creek, is always full of nocturnal animals, headed home after raiding the local campgrounds. So mule deer, black bear, and huge jackrabbits crossing the road is no surprise. And I have to apologize late into the game for my voice that keeps going out.
I mean, it's the broadcaster's curse.
No doubt.
There you go.
Like I have done 100 times before, keep an eye out, slow down, hit the high beams to illuminate the beasts with eyes reflecting my car lights. I had just passed the small trailer campground as we saw something crossing the road coming in our direction, maybe less than 50 yards away. This time, my lights caught something crossing the road that did not have reflective nocturnal eyes. So I slowed down immediately to about 20 miles per hour and tried my best to identify what it was. I was having trouble doing so since the thing was moving very low to the ground, its belly just inches from touching the ground. It appeared very pale or white, so I'm thinking goat or sheep. I immediately remembered decades ago there had been sheep herders on the side of the hill, but they had been gone for many years. Well, when my high beams hit this thing, it turned its long neck and glared at us and almost shook its head as if we pissed it off and it didn't want to be seen at all. Fucking weird.
Oh.
At first sight, it was crossing the street almost diagonally, headed our way, then along the side of the road in our direction. Now my wife had seen it from the start, but I needed extra time so that I could ID it and give her an explanation of what type of animal it was, like I always do. I asked her, "What is that?" I just wanted to make sure she was seeing and observing the same thing I was. Now the first thing that I couldn't understand, besides the way it was crawling so low to the ground, unlike a hunting cat, the legs were all wrong. Its knees seemed to be backwards, but it was running on them. My thought was that it was an escaped sheep or goat that had broken its knees and it was running for its life because it was moving fast. Just a broken-kneed sheep goat.
I mean, I think it would have a lot of trouble trying to
Yeah.
run on
Broken-
broken knees that were bent the wrong fucking way.
But it just goes to show you, like, the acrobatics a mind will go through
Yeah.
when you're seeing something you
Yeah.
can't fathom.
Oh, take these broken knees and run.
Yeah, no doubt.
learn to not ever
Take
fly again.
These broken
Or
knees.
walk again or crawl again.
Yeah, or yes,
maybe.
sit properly. You're just going to be in pain.
I mean, I don't know. Tech's pretty good.
I don't know.
All right. As it came closer and closer toward us, I could hardly take my eyes off its freaky legs. I still lay awake at night, puzzled by how they were working. I've not seen any mammal move this way. The closest thing would be a crab or insect. The front and back legs moved together in unison. There was no bouncing, swaying, galloping, or jumping like that of a mammal. This creature's torso, which was about 4 feet long, stayed straight, low to the ground, as its arms/legs did all of the work. To me, it looked like a puppet with a marionette moving it along. That makes it worse.
Yeah.
So unreal, like one of H.R. Giger's alien creatures is shown climbing around super fast with only its arms/legs moving. By this time, my wife could only get out, "What the hell?" as we saw it from maybe 50 yards away to about 20 yards. You could see that it had no fur at all, just pale, sinewy, stretched skin over its long, skinny, well-defined limbs. Its quote-unquote broken knees were long, skinny fingers or claws, a foot long or more. The torso was maybe the size of a large goat, but it also had broad shoulders, very human. Possibly like this thing normally walks upright. This is what my wife kept pointing out. The shoulders made it look human. All of this was freaky, but we both stared intensely as to figure out what it was. When we got closer, the face became more and more defined. The first second we laid eyes on it, the face and head did not make sense. But I put my mind at ease, saying to myself, quote within a quote, "Well, it looks strange now, but when you get face to face, you will see a familiar goat snout or a cat canine nose or a jackrabbit's face." I always comfort myself with that. Eventually, you're going to see a jackrabbit's face,
Yeah.
and everything's going to be okay,
You're
Rob.
waiting for Domino's to show up. It's late, and you're like, eventually, a jackrabbit's face.
That's
It's
it. Just
fine.
relax. It's going to be cool. Everyone will be cool.
No. And then fucking Domino's sends a text to your phone. Norm is on his way, and then you're waiting for Norm. And Norm's like 45 minutes late, and you're like, the fuck, Norm? It happened to me recently. I'm sorry.
Did he have a jackrabbit's face, though?
No.
Really? With Domino's?
Yeah, it was a
Fucking
whole
Norm.
thing. It was
I never had them be that way.
It's okay. Whatever. It was, it was a thing. I was hammered.
It happens.
Yeah.
You were hammered?
Yeah.
Oh, so you might have been wrong then.
I probably was wrong.
You probably wasn't late at all. You're just like, fuck.
It's like, Norm, it says you're here. Hey, Norm, where'd you go?
Jackrabbit's face.
No one but
All right.
myself.
All right.
Jackrabbit's face.
Okay.
God. Sorry, Domino's.
Steve answers his own question. I know it's going to look normal. It's going to look familiar. And he says, nope. This thing looked like it came out of a horror movie.
Oh, man.
Like a space alien creature or humanoid monster. The nose I was looking for was not there.
Oh.
Just a flat opening with 2 nose holes high up on the face.
Oh.
No ears, just small holes on the side of its head. But whatever they were smaller than a human's for sure. It had high brow ridge bones, but the skull did not have a huge human cranium, more like the size of a chimp. It had a large chin that protruded, maybe strong jawbones, but this part I totally don't get at all. The eyes. I saw these large eye sockets off in the distance, but they never reflected in the light. As they came nearer and nearer, I saw the color red. Not like a light that was glowing, but maybe many veins. The blood within was giving it the darkest color the darkest color on this pale beast. As we were within 10 to 15 yards away, I saw only sockets and no eyeball, like that of a blind cavefish.
Oh, but you can see the veins?
But you could see the veins.
Oh, it's awful.
Now this blew me away. I thought, how is this thing turning its head to glare at me with no eyes? Was it a ghost? But as it passed us and I came to a complete stop, I saw it zip into the chaparral and kick up the dust. And that's just like a thicket of trees or whatever.
I've never heard of a chaparral.
Like
but
high
I
chaparral.
like it. Yeah, I'm gonna go fucking.
Dave Chaparral.
Dude, I'm gonna go get fucked up in the chaparral.
Deep Many Oaks.
Wait for Norm. Wait for Norm.
Take a
Where's
shit
my
in the
pizza?
chaparral.
I'll be in the chaparral, kicking up dust.
My fucking pants.
He continues. This thing had been flesh and blood at least for the 15 to 20 seconds that we observed it. I might add there was no smell or anything else odd that we noticed. I should have taken pictures of the tracks, but did not think to do so because I was very puzzled and thought maybe we had witnessed a ghost because of how unreal it appeared. I was also with my family, which I am very protective of. Normally, if I had been alone, I would be on the trail. What this thing was doing so close to a campground puzzles me. My wife said, even though I was only thinking it, this thing seemed intelligent and was creeping in the dark, mad at us for discovering it. So this is interesting. I mean, their perception is that it's intelligent and predatorial.
Yeah.
But again, who knows? We put a lot of we anthropomorphize as a species, human beings, all sorts of shit. I mean, just look at Beauty and the Beast, the original fucking. I mean, it's toasters, fucking candlesticks.
Well, yeah, everything.
It's fucking whatever.
Be our guest. Be our guest.
Yeah, we will fucking literally imbue life in anything.
Yeah.
So, who the fuck knows? So creeping in the dark, mad at us. The mouth was closed, but it had tight, closed lips that almost seemed to grin. I did not see any teeth, large canine or flat herbivores. Its skull was that of a predator, not prey, with eye sockets positioned on the front, not the sides. I've seen a great many extraordinary things in my life, and all animals, as I recall. So I have learned to be a great eyewitness and not jump to conclusions. Only observe, make notes, and evaluate later.
He's cool as a cucumber.
He is.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. No.
Just every couple sentences, he's got to let you know.
He's
got to
the
make sure
ace-
you remember.
The ace of observations here. That's his nickname.
Yeah.
Steve M.
All
Fucking key witness. Okay. My wife is the biggest skeptic I have ever met. Not fully believing the many extraordinary stories I have told, no matter how good of an eyewitness I claim to be.
Oh, wow.
I added that part. She comes from a lifetime of cold, hard, harsh reality. Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay.
No room for any stretch of the imagination. Well, now she is a believer and is afraid to this day of what is walking around those Sierra Nevada mountains. So that's my sighting. I never heard of or saw this thing again, and I have no idea what it could have been. Nothing adds up. I really feel I was not supposed to see this thing. People like to say maybe it was an experiment gone wrong or a mutated, deformed animal, but what I have to say to that is that this thing wasn't sick or dying. It was strong, aware, fast, and would kick the ass of whatever would mess with it. So, if there were a real cryptid, someone else must have seen it since this was a campsite. What would it be doing so close to humans if it depended on seclusion for survival? Doesn't add up. End of story. End of the quote there anyway. So that's fucking interesting. And you know what? Hubris aside, his observations are interesting.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he's,
the whole nature of how he's.
I know.
Thing is just. We'll talk about that after.
That's
about
the problem.
His sussery.
All right. Yeah. Sussery.
Is it saucery?
No, it's sussery.
It's not saucery. Are you sure?
No,
All
no
right.
sauces involved.
Fine.
Okay. So what are we to make of these sickly pale, semi-humanoid, apparently predatory creatures allegedly living in the Sierra Nevadas? Though the over-the-top, pulp-tastic humans getting their just desserts for contaminating nature with just that perfect pinch of Japanese innocent victim becomes horrific monster origin story of the original Penelope would make for great B-grade drive-in fodder. No one in their right mind would consider that anything more than the boulder dash used to fuel the fertile imaginations of wide-eyed kids orbiting a dying fire with bellies full of s'mores. But as ridiculous as the explanation for her extraction may be, and in fact it can only be traced to one book reference and one unidentified folklorist from Reno, might not tales of Penelope be based on something much older and infinitely more sinister that makes the isolated swaths of the Sierra their home? Creatures, perhaps corporeal, perhaps not, who infest the forest, preying on weaker species of animals like deer, rabbit, or even humans. Could this be where so many of the missing 411 end up? In the bellies of the beasts? Ancient native myths tell of innumerable dangerous quasi-human flesh-devouring entities said to dwell in the shadow-shrouded forests and caves of cursed mountains. Who's to say that Penelope isn't just the latest name in a long line of such vicious and voracious beings?
Oh, Penelope, go home.
Yeah.
You're drunk.
Welcome at this
You're
party.
drunk.
Leave your keys.
Oh, my God.
You're drunk, Penelope. Go home. Nobody wants to talk to you. This thing is fucking scary.
It's Eccles.
It's real. I'm trying to figure out. So is this thing basically like it's how he's describing it, how it walks, like it's its forearms are here and then the knees are on top and it comes down to other arms? Is it like a weird triangle walkie?
We've talked about this, like when we were dealing with like all those crazy
I think that's what I picture.
fucking crawlers in like Pennsylvania not too long ago. Like I've the hardest time imagining this. I get the idea of the torso remaining stationary and the arms moving, and then so if I think of how a cat should move or a bear or whatever, and the knees are backwards, that's one thing. But then that weird joint that was supposed to be the knees is really just foot-long talons. And another analogy compared it to like a scuttering sloth. Like I say, there was like 2 or 3 different versions.
He says it's low to the ground and its stomach is dragging on the ground. So it's not
5 to 6 inches at most.
Yeah, it's not tall.
But
it's more like it's like crawling
so
on the ground.
Let's
fast.
be clear about one thing.
I
here.
know. I see it as buggish, right?
Oh,
same.
definitely.
Same.
But like with a goat-sized body, an extended neck, a semi-humanish face, I guess, but not quite. With
nothing, no features, just no ears,
no eyes, a weird grin, but no teeth available. And here's where the distinction has to be pointed out. Even though this individual made the association, Stephen M., that I read about the tall witch-like thing, and here's something I saw that's also pale and weird from the same area. This individual making that association doesn't mean we're talking about the same thing.
Right.
Penelope is decidedly feminine, has a head of hair. No ears were described, but and neither were eyes, but it doesn't mean that she didn't have eyes. But a mouthful of sharp teeth.
Yep.
Long claws. Okay, that's similar. All right. So now, just like everyone, when I read books when I was a kid, it's like Tim Dinsdale had explained to me, and not a patronizing tone, in a very patient tone, and by that I mean it's how I read it in my head. There's not one Loch Ness monster. It's not a Nessie. It's a colony.
Right.
If these things exist, it's probably not one metaphysical nightmare that was spawned of radiation and fucking love canal sludge. It's probably a group of creatures, and if the Penelope creature seen by like the dad LR and his son in the RV, if that were able to fall on its side or its back and then start scuttling around crab-like and like that worst scene taken out of The Exorcist, I could see it being something similar. But we don't know for a fact that what is the Penelope and what is the creepy crawler from the last account are the same thing. We just don't know that.
No.
Right, but I think you did kind of tie it together though, where I think you mentioned that there are these creatures, and this is what people are basing this Penelope thing off of, is because they're seeing this stuff.
That's one theory I'm throwing out there.
Yeah,
I'm not even saying it's like my only theory, but the idea that these things might walk bipedally, they might walk quadrupedally. Yeah. They might be very fast. They're probably very dangerous. They clearly haven't gutted an entire trailer park and various FBI agents.
Oh, you mean like killed half the FBI of California or whatever?
Probably not.
That would make a scene.
Until it got covered up by the government.
Oh,
that doesn't want you to know.
5Gs,
because
dude.
I mean, you can't just have toxic barrels.
No, dude, that's how they get away.
I feel like the area would be.
If the military dumped it there, then they've got vested interest in covering it up.
Yeah, fracking. Yeah, that's how it starts.
Fracking.
Yep. Yeah, that's what they do with it, and then they create Penelopes all over the country.
All over the country. A Penelope party.
Man, who knows?
Penelope Pandemonium. Demonium.
Pandemonium. So if these are some nocturnal creatures, maybe could even possibly be something living in the Sierra Nevada, could be underground, could be something
The eyelessness.
Yeah, that makes me think.
I mean, he wasn't wrong with the cave fishes.
Like mole people or something. Not mole people, but
okay, yeah, that's a little strange.
Not Fantastic.
It sounds a little racist too. Let's not just throw them under the mole people banner.
Not Fantastic Four mole people, but like underground dwelling creatures or something.
Well, the pale skin.
Yep.
So
no
let's just
sunlight.
tackle it from a purely biological perspective.
Yep, pale.
And we're dealing with the last one. Super pale, low to the ground, so they have to fit through little nooks and crannies.
No eyeballs.
No eyes.
No nose.
Well, nostrils, but that's okay.
Right. No ears.
And ear holes.
Yep.
So I mean, and I mean, the big difference between moles and voles and mice are external ears and ones that are just holes in the head because they have to burrow all the time. A lot of this last creature, presuming it's real, have the earmarks of subterranean, a subterranean creature.
And with arms like that or whatever weird broken knee setup you have, digging wouldn't be hard, man.
Well, yeah, digging, but also because you have to maneuver through all sorts of like tight spaces that would drive me nuts. Like, obviously, I'm a fat fuck, and I couldn't get through it anyway. But even if I was, like, super fit, I would totally have a panic attack trying to get through, like, what these cavers have to go through. Well, if your body can mold and bend and you can be, like, just 5 inches above the ground with your little goat body and your long neck, and you could look around things.
Yeah.
Well, or sense around things, whatever, fucking sensory organs you have. Living in the dark all the time. These things could be cave-dwelling things that, for whatever reason, came up, which is why they're not seen more frequently.
I mean,
which might be different from the Penelope.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like they would have evolved smaller, though, too, to do stuff like that. Like, you wouldn't be that big.
Well, the Penelope.
For this last one,
it's like 7 foot tall. This thing had like a goat-like body and super long limbs, so it's hard telling how big it actually was.
Right.
But you're right. You'd think you'd be smaller.
Yeah. I mean, it says the torso was 4 feet long, if I assumed.
And then long, spindly limbs.
That's still pretty big.
Yeah, that's
and
still
a long
big.
neck.
Yeah.
I mean,
so we could still be dealing with about 7 feet.
Yeah.
If it
6.5,
was
7
to
feet.
stand up, it could very well be the size of the Penelope.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So
plus, then, like, anytime we start talking about things evolved under, I'm not like against it, but like the biology of how those things have to happen is super complicated. Because if it was a human first, that means humans had to have gone underground,
right?
And I mean, it was millions of years just to get like a couple eyelashes on an eyebrow, let alone to get your no eyes to happen, no ear, ears to change.
Well, I mean, how long does it
Unless
take
it
for like
wasn't
the
human.
salamanders or the fish, which I know are simpler creatures? And here's the thing: evolution doesn't always take millions of years. I mean, just to play
macro
devil's
stuff
advocate.
does.
But
There's
a
micro
lot of-
evolutions that's color and camouflage,
right. But I mean,
like stuff like
some
that is like
fundamental changes can happen within like 4 or 5 generations.
but not like no eyes.
No, you're right. That's extreme. I'm
That's
not going
it.
to lie.
That's
You're
one
right.
that's just kind
But
of.
it- but
I'm
if
not
it-
saying I'm against that. Like I'm just saying, like it's like then what? If it was, what was it? Was it humans that went down,
or was it another primate?
Yeah, was
Or
it
just
some
a
other
mammal? I
fucking
mean, who's to say?
thing?
Who's to say this is a human at
It's
all?
think they
it's
sound
like
insect-ish.
the Floriensis, the Homo Floriensis, but he's like, "Fuck you guys, I'm going to the ground," and then it turns into an awful solo climber.
Is it like a
and
cave
the weird-
spider queen that like banged an early human?
Ooh.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Well, all right,
cave
hold on
spiders.
there, cowboy. You got a cave spider queen banging dudes.
I mean,
All right.
that's going to
I
speed
like
up
it.
evolution every
That'll-
time.
yeah.
I mean, if my
Yeah.
Hong Kong filmography has taught me anything,
Yeah, exactly.
you fuck a spider queen in
Yeah.
a cave, your kids are going to end up hybrids
Yeah,
Cave
of
spiders
the
are
worst
awful.
kind.
they are awful. They
They
are.
are.
Awful.
Cave
And it does
spiders,
have an
spindly,
it actually
translucent.
does have kind of like an arachnid sort of feel to
So
it.
going back to the Penelope, here's something. I know I throw this reference up, I feel like every 10 pods, but I do it because I remember when I first saw it, it blew me away. A mangy fucking grizzly or black bear. And when I first saw this thing, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you are. You're fucked up. Because
Yeah,
without
you're
hair,
terrible.
you're weird. What if it's a Sasquatch with a skin condition? Like a normal female Sasquatch.
Right.
They might have raggedy-ass teeth. They would be about 7 feet tall. You know, when the nails aren't covered with all the fur, they probably have good digging nails for, getting clams and whatnot. They're omnivores. If you just didn't happen to have hair except on your head because of you had some, I don't know, some mangy type condition that could affect a hairy animal, it could look like the shrieking female version of Penelope, as well as the counterparts screaming back and forth. And if they bred together, because maybe, I don't know, they're ostracized by healthy Sasquatch because, you're hairless and fucked up. The way human beings had leper colonies, maybe you're just separated out.
Right.
Maybe you breed with your own kind, and there's like a pale colony of hairless Sasquatch that, scream and maybe aren't any more violent than their other counterparts, but because they're so distinctive looking, they get a reputation.
I mean, it could be. Yeah, it could be just a weird mutation that this one had, and then, I assume if you breed, that gets passed down somehow.
Sure.
Or at least the potential to have the mutation again, I suppose.
Wasn't it described as being skinny, though? And having, sinewy skin and everything?
Yes.
So,
but that would also be indicative of something that's sickly.
Right. Losing its hair.
So
yeah.
if you're sick with whatever, you're bony, you're not fully fleshed out. Also makes your nails look bigger. You have your skin is sort of shrinking on your body. It makes your teeth look bigger. I mean, who knows what? I mean, a Sasquatch is terrifying enough.
Right.
You see it without most of its hair.
Yeah.
And you just see its female anatomy or male anatomy, depending on what gender it is, and you just see it there all dangly and weird and clawed and shrieking, as all Bigfoot are said to fucking do, pretty much.
Yeah,
wood knocking, being a dill, and you're just like, what the fuck?
Right, making noises. Brr. I just made that up.
That account there was interesting though, where it was you could hear them screaming to each other.
Yeah,
that's kind of because then you're put in a situation where you're like, well, fuck. We got a gaggle of Penelopes here.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on now? Because if you
problems.
You got one here, you got to call and do its buddy, and you're caught in the middle. I don't know what the fuck.
Maybe someone's out there looking for squatches and they heard it and they were just calling back to it.
Oh, could be. Yeah, it could be.
Or it could be
Bobo and his boys. Yeah.
Regular preppy ass fucking jock squatch, fucking being like, get out of here, nerd! Fucking, you're not welcome on our sweet mountain at our sweet frat squatch party.
I mean, that could be too.
And she's like, come on, I brought some 6-packs of wine coolers.
No.
Like, fuck you, get out of here! And all the humans are hearing is,
I was thinking, let the fucking carry of Sasquatch. You're like, yeah, we're your friend, and then just dump blood on her and be like, yeah, good luck with fire.
Or he's just like, look at these people, watch this, Bill. All right,
hey, got him.
Here I go.
This makes me empathize. Penelope, the underdog.
I mean, I think it's more like Penelope, the cannibalistic, fucking free climbing, cave dwelling nightmare.
Let's entertain for just the briefest second the legend. The legend from Reno. The legend from
I mean, I like
Scott Francis's book.
It's
apparently
fun. It's super fun, but I mean,
outlandish.
Yeah, it's super Marvel. I
don't know. Why do you eat people now? I mean, because you're a monster. The mutation made you a monster.
I guess. I mean,
all right. So
it is cool though.
So I think we all agree that's just patently ludicrous.
Yeah, but it is fun. It's totally fun.
But then you've got things like Wendigos.
Yep.
Now these are more humanoid, not necessarily as hairy as traditional Sasquatch. They're more occulty, paranormal, and less biological. It's a curse.
Yeah.
And they feast on the flesh of other humans or their former species because they become something new.
Yep.
All right. So all right, now that we got the Wendigo head in the ring, what if a Wendigo crawled into a barrel of toxic waste?
Oh no.
And you got the hyper irradiated sludge to go.
That's the rarely seen, often heard of
plutonium infused Wendigo.
Sludge to go. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I mean,
they're fair. They're fucking freaky enough.
Yeah, I'm thinking Marvel Comics Wendigo, Wolverine Wendigo. Yeah,
no, of course.
Yeah, you have to. Just climbing his big ass into a tiny fucking little barrel of toxic waste.
Like a baby Wendigo caught in the storm, getting cold, crawls in, the sludge seeps.
Yeah.
Comes out 6 times bigger, 5 times deadlier.
Yeah, shit.
Hyper Wendigo.
Hyper Wendigos, yeah. All right. Cool.
Sure. Okay.
A Wendigo dancer. Because,
Oh, Chris and I were just talking about the Go-Go's, as a matter of
fact. Well, first off, Go-Go is one of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about Go-Go dancers from the 60s.
Oh,
but
okay. Dancing Go-Go's.
Well, Go-Go's are great. Even their shitty old punk I like, but their pop stuff, of course.
So does this kind of transpose over to pale crawlers? Is that where this
Yes, it does.
So it does. So that is sort of like a part of the...
only in terms of the last account.
Okay, cool.
And we are 100%. I know I say it all the time, but I have all the research together for a proper Pale Crawler episode.
Awesome.
I think that's a separate thing.
Right.
Because this weird crab crawling spindly fuck that was chasing Steve M and family
Yeah.
falls a little bit under the Pale Crawler umbrella. And it's definitely something, and obviously the Pale Crawler is often associated with the definitively fictional character, the Rake, which, you know,
It's funny because that's what I
D&D and
thought
other
of.
things. Yeah.
Like that's the other sus thing about the Steve M's account here is like, I mean, I don't. Everyone's different, but like, man, people generally don't talk like this. Like when they like.
I mean, I've known cocky fucks.
I mean, it's
but-
just like fuck. It's just.
Well, the funny part is, in the two different accounts, and you can find them both on Phantoms and Monsters. There's the one from, I gave the dates in there, like 2016 and 2021. He tries to pare it down a little in the 2021 account, which is the one I mostly used. But in the first one, he's like, you know, as a talented artist and a knower of all things fucking, you know, zoological, I've understood the movements of all animals since the dawn of time. And
that's why it's just like,
and it's almost like, oh my God. And he found a way to tone it down and yet still not tone it down.
Right.
So, I mean, he's got to be kind of intolerable in person, let's be honest. But it doesn't mean he didn't see it, because basically both accounts are 100% true to each other. Like, he doesn't embellish or change the accounts, just the way he presents himself and the situation leading into it.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's making it up. It's just
it is the internet, though. You know, I mean, when people submit stories like that,
we have to.
Yes, you know, it's
a liar can lie twice.
Right.
We know that.
Right. Or, you know, honestly,
and he could have eat 3 Twinkies, had a Mad Beaties attack on the road, but then his wife, who's the most skeptical human being ever, knows nothing but the harsh cold,
reality.
because she lived in a gulag, fucking walked 35 miles through Siberia every day to fucking freeze at work, and so she knows no joy, but she saw the fucking same thing.
She has it was she has no imagination. That's which is great. My imaginationless wife.
And what about the son-in-law and his parents? Were they sleeping in the back?
Did they know what the hell happened? I don't know, man.
And did he go fishing at that point?
Yeah, just
like
leave.
at that point, I'm like, I don't get out of the car
go.
again. We drive to a city, we live in a city.
Yeah, we never
That's
go
what
back.
happens.
We never
if
go
I
back.
see a tree, we burn it.
Yeah,
that's what when you see this fucking crab crawling marionetted fuck all.
Yeah,
you're done.
I mean, I'm gonna say from just strictly from what he described, I definitely, as he mentioned, see this thing as a predator sneaking around. You mentioned the 411.
Right.
This thing clearly is here to eat people.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's not really it's not a vegan, and a vegetarian.
Well, it's looking it doesn't have eyes, but it looks forward.
Yeah.
The mouth is forward.
It's there to eat, dude.
It moves fast.
It's there to eat.
If it's a mouth.
If it is a mouth.
Oh, what if it's his butthole?
Oh.
What if it's a dick?
There it is.
I just think of it because I was going to slit.
Science.
That'd be weird.
The weird like pee hole fucking mouth. Yeah, nobody likes that.
Yeah.
That's gross.
You do.
I mean, you know,
you do.
You do. I'm gonna say this. Whatever this thing is, it's some sort of undiscovered species. Living alongside us, possibly subterranean, definitely eating people.
Are you fucking
100%.
kidding me? You have a gimme. This thing could
What's
be
that?
from another dimension. It could be the ghost of. It could be a ghost of a creature that's from the future, and ghosts don't fucking know whether to go to the future or the past.
I gotta change it up.
You don't know what it could be there. You just said it was a corporeal, cave-dwelling fucking creature.
Yeah.
Like The Descent.
Are you me? What the fuck is
No,
going
he
on?
likes his underground shit. Though.
I love underground.
It doesn't surprise
you give me the interdimensional explanation.
Yeah.
Interdimensional.
From another fucking dimension.
From
the cave dimension.
Yeah.
Dude, just like our last Patreon episode, which I ended up titling Clown Disclosure.
Oh my God.
From a reality adjacent to ours, full of clowns, full of super fucking
right, so
creepy
dig this.
pale shit.
Here's why it makes sense.
Okay.
The Earth in this other dimension is the thrice Earth, which means it's 1/3 bigger.
Okay.
So where it was crawling in the road in our world, it was really just in a cave in its world. And so it saw something in its cave that it shouldn't. A car and a road and kids and people and sun. And it was like, what the fuck is going on? I'm in a cave. I'm in cave Earth. Thrice Earth. And fucking, it's like, I don't like you. I sent you with my radar eyes. And he glared at fucking Steve M. And Steve M. glared back. And Steve M., were he not protecting his family, would have gotten out single-handedly, punched it into our dimension, thus proving the multi-dimensional fucking entities exist.
Like how Superboy brought back
Oh no.
Yeah, remember
Oh,
when
no.
Superboy hit the walls of reality, and,
Oh, yeah.
and he brought what's his name, that dickhead Robin that everyone wanted to die.
Oh, he brought Jason Todd
He
back?
brought, because he hit the walls of reality, and Jason Todd came back.
Oh,
it was one of the stories.
Of all the things.
Oh, that
he
was-
could
that
have
was
done.
one of the story.
It got changed around. I think I'm
Supposed to
with
be just
you.
a Lazarus pit, right?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it became, yeah,
Because it's easier than punching reality.
So
yeah.
Steve M punched
Anyway.
the walls of reality.
All right, cool.
He shook loose.
Nice.
What did Jack Burton say? Shake the pillars of heaven, fucking la la la.
Oh, yeah, the
Shake
fucking
pillow.
speech.
Yeah.
All I know is that he makes fucking Jack Burton look like a humble truck driving
Yes,
man
he
without
does.
an ounce of arrogance in him whatsoever.
Yes.
Yeah,
But he
just
still
fucking
might have
right.
seen some weird shit
I believe
in the
he did.
Sierra Nevadas.
Yeah, no.
But I still don't know if that has anything to do with Penelope.
It could-
I made the connection because simply he did.
Right.
But I'm here to own that I think we're dealing with two different things. I think it might be a
All right.
cave cryptid / foundational creature. One of those
Oh, yeah.
natural
Here we
nature
are.
spirits that live in the woods that occasionally
Primordial
show up.
ooze creature.
Primordial phantom.
Yep.
A primordial phantom.
Primordial phantom.
Oh, see, that should be our new website.
Yeah.
Primordial ancestor.
Ooh, primordialphantom.org.
There it is.
Yeah.
It's an organization.
Awesome. I love it. All right. Well, there you have it. Penelope. Holy shit. Great story, by the way. Holy shit.
Yeah, they're fun.
That's
Creepy.
awesome. That one was super cool. Yeah, so I always forget how the fuck it did, though. You know where we are, Robert?
I do.
We're on the social medias.
I love it.
mean, we're in Auburn in your sister's basement currently recording, but
Yes.
we as a whole, as a podcast, are on the social medias.
And by that you mean you are. But God bless you for it.
Yes, you are correct.
I have been
I
on
am.
social medias, though.
Yes.
and
Right.
They're cute.
You can find me on the Instas and the Twitters. It's generally where I hang out. I'm there doing my thing. We got a Facebook page.
We do.
We got a Facebook fan group run
God
by
bless
some
'em.
good folks over there that are
Fucking
holding that
right
down.
they are.
And yeah, feel free to hit us up on the socials, follow us, do all that stuff. Retweet our tweets if you'd like to.
Could you support us with Patreon?
You can support us at patreon.com/Cryptonaut podcast. $1 is one bonus audio and access to our Discord server.
Oh my gosh. yes.
$5 is 4 bonus audios.
Up to
and
7.
Possibly
10.
10. And
Yeah.
then access to our Discord server as well.
There's actually no top level. I don't think
Not
we've
really.
maxed out how many we're actually going to do something.
No.
No,
The most we've ever done is 7.
I think so.
Average though is 4.
And generally, we shoot for a 4 bag.
Yeah. So
generally.
I mean, either way.
And we're up there with Patreon episodes.
it's
And then if you look
dumb.
at our Patreon plus our regular pods, we're fucking doing it, man. We're getting a lot of fucking content. So, dude, and a lot of people get a hold of me. They're like, oh my God, I binged the catalog and then I jumped into Patreon. There's so much more content. I'm like, yeah, man, dig in.
Do
Yeah,
it.
do it.
Dig in and do it.
That's
so be
the
sure
point.
to check all that out there. Your t-shirts, you can get your shirts over there at hellerspace.com.
Mm-hmm.
We're selling t-shirts there. And what else do we got? We got Heller Space, we got the socials, we got the Instas. Oh, speaking of the socials, I want to give a very special shout out to a listener today. Axley Graves was kind enough to get a hold of me, and they were listening to an older episode where Rob was discussing about a certain cup that he was drinking whiskey from. They informed me that cup may cause lead poisoning.
Yep.
So
you did pass that on.
I actually, as soon as I read that, I'm like, oh, fuck. And I
Yep.
texted to you. I'm like, dude, just
Immediately.
read this. And for the love of God, get that fucking cup away from you.
Yeah.
Put it away.
No, it's cleaned up and retired to a shelf now.
Excellent.
I was drinking from it as recently as the Elvis decanter from just a couple weeks past.
Oh, no, dude.
But I don't drink out of it like daily. It's not like my only coffee mug.
Right.
All right.
It's just something.
Maybe, I don't know how
I
lead poisoning
recreationally
works. I'm not sure what, but maybe water. Some water.
Yeah.
Just flush your system.
With water.
Yeah, maybe a couple oranges.
Or more bourbon.
No.
Yep.
I don't think
Because
bourbon.
it's an astringent.
But bourbon's going to make the lead harden, I think.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. That sounds like
I don't
sound
know.
science.
Probably
Oh,
not.
fucking chemist Dad over here.
Just flush your system. If shit goes south, get yourself lead tested, please. This shit makes
okay.
me nervous, okay?
Fair enough.
All right? I'm a
Get
concerned...
some anti-lead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a concerned friend with your fucking denouement cup of hubris, drinking lead-based fucking drinks out of it.
No, I should have known that sweet-ass retro mug was too good to be true.
I know, man. But sometimes, man, back in the day, it was like we all had lead poisoning. We thought the shit was dope. And we were at like Riva Roverdome, holding hands, doing the mummy rap. But now it paralyzes you and fucks you up.
They dipped
I
you in
don't
lead
think there was lead
for
in
your
Riva.
8th birthday.
I mean, you don't know
it happened
that, dude.
to everyone.
Like
Could've
if they find out like neon lights were full of lead and the light had lead in it and it got we're in
dude.
trouble.
There was a lot of neon.
Dude, I think we're alone now.
Yeah,
Doesn't seem to be anyone around.
there it is.
Yeah.
What?
Is that what you made out to at Riva?
No. Nobody would make out with me, Rob. Thanks for bringing it up.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah. You were making out with everybody over there.
I was not.
No,
I was making out with pizza.
Yeah, no, I was just playing video games.
Okay, yeah, actually, that's what
And
I
eating
was.
pizza.
I mean,
for
I
sure.
was skating and
Definitely.
holding hands and trying to get kisses. It didn't work out.
Oh,
So whatever.
look at you.
No kisses for Mark.
Oh, too much lead.
Too much
You're
lead.
trying to
There
grab
you
butts at Riva?
go. I wasn't
grabbing
grabbing butts.
and getting poisoned.
Hey, Kelly, let's play Robotron.
Grab your butt
You go
with your
first.
Robotron.
That's a butt squeeze sound. That's what that was.
Nice.
It's from the 80s. Yeah, unless you were there, you wouldn't know.
Oh, that's all.
Fucking creep.
Wow. Holy shit.
Those are some nice guests.
Oh, we got some accusations getting thrown at Mark over here. Wow. 13-year-old Mark.
I mean, you
12-year-old
just
Mark.
admitted it.
I was just trying to, skate with chicks, man, and
Live in
fucking,
dumpsters.
Yeah,
Live
dude.
your best
I was trying to
life.
skate
Were
with
you
chicks.
doing like tracks, like skating backwards, going,
Yeah, hey, ladies.
staring them down?
No.
You
chicks
want
were-
some dad? You guys
Yeah.
want some of this dad?
Yeah, I sounded just like
Yeah, you
that.
guys want some of
Like
this
a young
dad?
Danny Terrio.
Oh, God
Pulling
bless
it
you. Your
off.
hair certainly was.
Yes, it was. It was. All righty. There you have it. Thank you all so very much. And we'll be talking to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Keep it Penelope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Penelope that shit.
Hardcore. Hey, when in doubt, climb in the barrel.
Or don't.
Soak up the rays.
Turn into
Become the best you can.
just turn into a cannibal and just be like, fuck it, it's over, even though, civilization's probably 2 miles down the road.
Just
But whatever.
literally, yeah.
Yeah.
Or stick to the road.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, sorry about the head, but
Yeah.
just stick to the road.
Exactly.
I mean, you're living on bugs and berries. Stick to the fucking road.
Just eventually someone will find you.
Oh,
All right,
God
well,
damn it.
or turn into a murderous animal, whatever.
There it is.
See ya.
Options.